Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Everything's good.
Oh, yes. I today. Very nice.
Yeah, I like it.
But I thought he was also, and or something. There is signs that all the guys that said like push down score time, you're like, splash or anything like that, yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. Yeah, so where did that tomorrow?
That's what
I'm sure it chatted online.
What's that?
Another the book stopping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, asked if there was, like, oh, Chardin, come around here, here.
Your eyes is fine. You're down the stage. Still not there was a.
She walked old buildings. Off the beam for a while. Wait, I've recovered.
Welcome, everyone. I understand there's a little problem with readings for today.
What's the problem?
Well, I think we Xeroxed. I was thinking we were going to do the first 2 chapters in this book. That's what I'm going to do. And for sure, you have the first chapter.
In these printouts?
In the printouts, yeah. Which was from another article, it's same article. Probably what led to this book. Became the lead article in this book. Which we are going to use for spring hedgerow. The cosmic vision of Teilhard de Chardin. So at least we're going to use this and other things. So I'm persuading Annie to help us. And with a little Thomas Berry and Joanna Macy, Sisters of Earth.
Yes, you.
So anyway, proceeding then. So tonight is kind of an introduction to what we're going to do in the spring. All along, we've been doing the things that are more ecological. The book for this fall has been Green Saints and Ecological Theologians. We've been sneaking in the voices of some of the theological writers. So we've talked about Rosemary Radford Ruther, and you've read things from Ivone Guevara, and there'll be other things coming along. So this is going to be a whole book that goes 13 chapters on all about looking into the future, about a metaphysics of the future. So that's what I'm introducing tonight. But it's also ecological. So we've been doing ecology first, then theology. Now we're going to do theology first and talk about what's involved for ecology. 2 very related topics. So here we go. God and the unfinished universe. So the first chapter is called Cosmos, and the second chapter is called something else. It is called Future. So would you like to read these first before I say anything, or?
Well, maybe you should read it, Joan, just in case people have trouble.
Yeah. Well, let's look first at the cover of this book. This is an Ansgar drawing. You've probably seen it. People like it to use it in different ways. And it's for the book, God's Ecstasy, the creation of a self-creating world. And a lot of us did this book together.
Yeah.
It's a challenging book, if you remember, that starts with the Big Bang and the physics of the early billion years, and then on into the chemistry, and all then into the biology, and then on into RNA and DNA, and the miracle of life, the stars having provided the materials. So this is the cover of the book that Ansgar did, and don't you think it's Jesus when you look at it? But it wasn't intended to be Jesus. There is kind of a cross behind it. But what else do you see? What?
The figure of them.
The figure looks feminine. Yeah, no, yeah. Can you see what's here? This is
All of creation.
yeah.
For 6 days, right?
This is fish,
Fish and
people,
frogs and deer.
birds. Yeah,
Plants.
deer, people. All with a sharing of fire.
I love the fire part.
And ultimately the cosmos behind it. So it's a nice drawing, and she did this drawing for this book. So it's intended to suggest the self-creating universe. So the book and what you read starts out that current pessimism is unfortunate because whenever hope is absent, love scarcely has a chance to survive, let alone flourish. And part of the thesis of the book we're going to look at by John Higg next spring is the kind of necessity of a future. Can love find nourishment for itself unless what we love has a future?
Oops, sorry.
Can we fully love the universe unless it's a place, the dawn of an expected new day? Can we humans fully love one another unless in some way we're ensured that all things have a future? Is my voice better?
Yeah.
Okay. If you really meant that, whoever did it. Okay, next. So according to Teilhard, evolution teaches that God makes things to make themselves. So creation isn't finished. And this book sees considerable doctrinal space for the theological tradition to accommodate a Darwinian understanding of evolution. So we're still coasting along on the Greeks. So in evolutionary science, the cosmos unfolds from one level of physical complexity to the next, and it passes through 3 distinct phases: divergence, convergence, so divergence, moving apart, is in division, convergence, coming together, and emergence, coming out. That things develop. So we are in a tremendous time of change theologically, profoundly. Maybe it's why so many people are leaving the churches. Our view has expanded, our theology, not so much yet, but people are trying. I guess it's just your computer is complaining about my voice.
No. Yeah, it is my computer. It's sorry. I don't know how to make that stop happening.
Well, I'm holding it.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good.
I think maybe I need to get a drink or something, but
No, it's really not you, Joan. It's going to do that no matter what. You're doing great.
all right, moving along here. Yeah. So now this is John Holt. His take on these stages of divergence, convergence, and now emergence of something new. So 2,000 years ago, modern humans began spreading out, diverging. Human existence is now at a threshold of a new phase. And what will Earth look like 1,000,000 years from now? I'm sure it was on Star Trek. The original Star Trek really had all these questions in it. So the thesis here, maybe there's a new and richer kind of emergence, now unpredictable. Can't see it yet. But eventually it will take place on the horizon of not yet. So I got some new words, not yet. We couldn't resist this hanging. If you'd like to make a pilgrimage, it's in our hallway. When you open the door, this is what you see. But everything is one, everything is attached to everything else. This is the whole idea that we have matured and changed and developed, unfolded. A world to make itself. I don't know if you can see, it's got all kinds of the other parts of creation here on the sides. The bunny, my beans, they won this year. I went over to pick some flowers, 3 big fat bunnies. I remember when they were cute babies over there behind Cronda Village. Fatty pies now on my beans. All right. So that was 200,000 years ago. Then in just the last 5,000 to 8,000 years, like Egypt, Mesopotamia, just the whole Fertile Crescent area, smaller tribes began to converge now, move toward each other, fight each other mainly, into tighter and increasingly complex social arrangements. And that increasing compression of people led to the emergence of the ancient city-states and more recently, nations. So that's a little history. Moving along. Faith is the universe in the process of awakening explicitly to the lure of an indestructible rightness. That is to what Teilhard calls omega, that we're going somewhere. Omega is the last word of the Greek the last letter of the Greek alphabet. So we should look at Christian faith and hope not only theologically, historically, psychologically, and sociologically, but also cosmologically. Now this next matchup is something that really mattered to Teilhard. Matter designates the inclination of nature to slide back toward the condition of dispersal, falling apart. They constituted the early subatomic age of the universe's long journey. Spirit is the propensity of our awakening universe to converge toward unity in the form of future emergent complexity. You recognize those things have already happened, the kind of in cycles. So we've seen some cycles of this. This is how we get DNA. That this whole process has gone through a physical era, a chemical era, a biological era. All those things have happened. And then this is accounting for how that's reflected in the cultures, from tribes on to city-states, nations. Spirit, as opposed to matter, is the propensity of our awakening universe to converge toward unity in the form of future emergent complexity. So consciousness has emerged from this whole process. So that now there are beings in the world who can know about this whole process and see it or experience it or whatever else and take it inside their minds like a mirror. I mean, I just think daily that's a miracle. That all this awesome stuff we see, in a way, it's far away, but it's also here. We see it, we experience it in our brains. And watching Venus, we have a Eastern exposure at our apartment. So we get to watch Venus and the moon every morning right now. Yesterday, the moon was a sliver. Today it was gone. So you can see here with matter and spirit, body and soul, this is the Greek binary. But spirit, our capacity to experience and retain and reflect and believe, it is a unifying thing. Is a constant miracle, isn't it? All right. So just to repeat then, matter is spirit in the state of dispersal or decoherence. You don't know what it is. So true of those itty-bitty things that you can't track. If you take a picture, they're a thing. If you don't, you can't find them. You don't know where they go. They're not really predictable. And spirit is matter in the state of emergent coherence. So they're together. And God is the principle that creates the universe by bringing unity out of the state of multiplicity known as matter. I don't know how good a definition that is, but trying to explain someone's thought Have you read any of this and what you read?
Mhm.
Yeah. So the universe continues to be drawn toward the future by the attractive power of a God who creates the world by always offering it new possibilities for becoming more. So
Sorry.
the whole creation is in transformation from simple to more complex. And nothing showed that like God's ecstasy. All those little protein trains that learn to take 20 proteins and take the right ones to make you. And I mean, it's just incredible. The complexity that's put together in the capacity to create growth then. So moving on. So Teilhard died in 55 after having been silenced most of his life. And think of all the things. What do you think of when you think of what you know today you didn't know as a child? You know that they can practically see the big original bang in the telescopes. They can see back in time. I don't understand that.
Joan, I can tell you just a little bit about that and give you a little break about hearing the Big Bang. It's Annie if you want, or you want to go on.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so
What can I drink?
you can hear. Okay, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
You can hear the Big Bang by going to YouTube. This is unbelievable. Going to YouTube, and it's under, let's see, take this down. It's called the cosmic signal. And there's lots of cosmic signal YouTubes, but you have to go to the one called Deep Time Network. And this was produced by the Yale Forum. And the understanding is that the Big Bang started 13.7 billion years ago, but it's made from microwave radiation, which still is going on today in the universe. So you can hear it on this YouTube, and it's amazing. And everybody's celebrating, they're dancing at the end because I think his name's Tom Wilson, the scientist who discovered it, and he got Nobel Prize for it. And so he's also there. But so that is what Joan was just saying with the cosmic signal, that it's still going on. It sounds like static is what it sounds like.
Like a refrigerator humming in the night.
There you go. There you go. All right, I'm done now. Thank you, Joan.
And say it again, what it is, Annie?
Oh, it's called the cosmic signal. If you go to YouTube, you can see it on there. You can see it's like a telescope, but it's not a telescope. It's like a scope to hear the universe. And you can hear it. The radiation is still going on now. It's called microwave radiation that started the Big Bang from just a tiny, tiny piece of sand almost to where we are now, and it's still growing, as Joan said. So anyway, the cosmic signal, and you have to go to Deep Time Network underneath it, because there are other one's called the cosmic signal.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That's something we didn't know when we were little.
Yeah, said something we didn't know. Anything else? There was anything but body and soul that we were. Body, spirits, and this is intimate connection.
John. I can't remember where I got this quote, but it's a theoretical physicist, Michio Kaku. And he says, in string theory, all particles are vibrations on a tiny rubber band. Physics is the harmonies on the string. Chemistry is the melodies we play on vibrating strings. The universe is a symphony of strings, and the mind of God is cosmic music resonating in 11-dimensional hyperspace. I don't understand a word of that, but it sure is beautiful.
I always think it's a little mystic when you sing, that if you get a chord in pitch, it starts to resonate in the octaves. So it starts to ring.
Breaks mirrors. It breaks chandeliers, and it's perfect pitch, and it's vibrating, and
And break chandeliers if it's perfect pitch.
that's what they tell me.
Did it ever happen
No, not
at the convent? No.
But I do have a question about, just a minute. I mean, this excites me terribly. I always love this, but I tried to talk to my brother, who's big into science. And he said, well, I can't prove that. You can't prove the noosphere. You can't prove this energy. You can't prove all this stuff that's just thrills me. How do you, he says that the only thing that he will accept as reality is what science has proven. And that limits him, but he doesn't have faith anymore because you can't prove it. Well, but this isn't faith. This is science. How would I answer that to help him? Well, he's very open in a way.
One of the first things I learned in one of the classes here is, and it's true, science never proves anything. They may disprove a hypothesis. Remember when we had that scientist, what was her name, who went through the class with us? But these are all theories. I mean, and Einstein's teachings were all theories, and some of them have been disproved, but we've acted. Scientists have to act on theories they think make the most sense. About a month ago, I was at CERN in Switzerland, where they do the particle research. They have the collider, and there was this video of one of the scientists, and she was just and she was saying, we have these ideas and we work on them, and we think we've got it all figured out, and oops, Mother Nature said, got it wrong, go back to the drawing board. So, I mean, I don't think your brother's gonna accept that, but we have to go with theories.
Probably would.
I mean, science goes with theories, but what we're talking about is, that's all solid. We're talking about how it all works together, which is not material.
Annie's got something to share here.
How do you prove,
Go ahead, Annie.
Oh, thank you.
How do you
Judith,
prove spirit? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Annie, you want to say something?
yeah, I'm reacting to Judith's comment about her brother. And it is true that there are still a lot of questions, but it is very true that we know so much more now through not only the Hubble telescope, but the James Webb telescope. And we know, for instance, that our solar system, the Milky Way, remember we grew up with just one solar system, the Milky Way, and now we know there's hundreds and millions of solar systems. We grew up with 9 planets. Now again, we know that there's 100 million planets out there. They can see them. They can see that our solar system, the Milky Way, is moving away from us, so that the universe is expanding. We know all of this. We don't know why or who's doing it or that. That's true, Judith, but we do know a lot more at what's happening. And it's, I don't know what term to use. It's exciting, it's frightening, it's mystery. And I think personally, you know, God is in all of it. That's just me. So sorry to take all the time, but I wanted to react to that.
Thank you. Hold it like that.
I think you might just tell him he needs to keep looking.
He does believe in the Hubble telescope and the universe because they can see that on the telescope. I mean, he has an open mind. It's just that I think he's afraid, and maybe we all should be, of the pressure that's been put on religion to speak for the universe. And, you know, that there is heaven, there is earth, there is this rule that they have interpreted. I think he's really questioning all of that in his refusal to accept Teilhard and other scientists are pseudo, and they're not pseudoscientists, they're real scientists, but they don't have the concrete grasp of observing material, testing it, and disproving it. And at least in my understanding, maybe you can tell me they do.
Well, there's faith that is your own personal setting of your heart, you know, that is not doctrine. That it's your own response to being alive in this world as we know it, being in your family, being with your people. What do you think's going on? And people have spiritual experiences that stick with them, that build faith. So it's personal and it's also cultural, and culturally for Christianity now, well, for I think any of the religions right now, it kind of changes our language. We thought we had it all set, you know, and Plato, there was a perfect universe, and our task was to become perfect. That's why the Carmelites suffered so, and, you know, were so against anything that was of the body, of the senses, that you tried to go toward the spiritual and create a perfect self, like the Platonic world up there. So there even this 7-step Gnostic ladder toward perfection. Well, that seems kind of remote to me now. This is the one that when I was a novice, because I'd already finished college, I had to read a lot out loud during dinners. And I announced this one book as from that saying about being an unprofitable servant. We just had that not long ago. That if you were in church recently, 2 weeks ago or something, that you should be an unprofitable servant. It was just Christian duty to serve. you shouldn't expect honor and place at the table and all that. So I announced this book on striving for perfection as unprofitable reading. Accidentally.
I think
Sort of said it all. There wasn't clapping, but
And from this reading, they talked about a stale physicalist understanding of life, the reigning academic cult of scientific naturalism, which is the belief that the totality of being is reducible to what analytical science is capable of finding out, and has closed its eyes to the most important implications of contemporary science, namely that the world is new each day, the cosmos still be only at the dawn of its creation. For me, when I look at science, say cosmology or even biology, it raises, it's just mysterious. It raises the vastness of the universe to me. So I think it's sort of how you look at science or what kind of science you're looking at. But to me, it just raises the mystery. And I think a lot of scientists do experience that kind of amazement and mystery. And I think also in this article, they talked about how we have to develop ideas of God as part of this mystery of the universe, this vastness of the universe.
I sort of would think it would be easy to expect that the universe is unfinished and that there are things coming that we don't know, because it's been our whole history. The human that has developed, went through all those stages. We say Homo sapiens as if, that, but there were, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo whatevers, all, and they died out. So there were attempts and there were trials, and a lot of it was climate change. When this group headed out and didn't survive, and the group so anyway, I just think the whole of the development of the universe has been trial and error all along. And itself, the universe itself tries things out and expects a future.
Yeah.
eventually you find something that works.
Yeah.
I think it's all very mystical and just as you said, and it goes beyond science. And I think it's a transformation not only of the universe, but I think right now people are also going through those three stages and emerging. And so psychologically and spiritually, we're called to enter into that hopefulness and open our hearts to that same kind of transformation that the universe is going through. And of course, we'll be at different stages, and there'll be resistance, like your brother who thinks science and facts are the boundaries, but they're not. It's the heart and it's the soul and it's the transformation we're all being called to enter into, and this complexity. It can be damn confusing because in this transformation, we become more complex and we become more, our relationships become more complex, more full, the fullness. And we have to be open to that fullness and hope. And it's a mystery, but it's mystic. And that's where our prayer comes in. Our contemplative prayer comes in there so we can be enabled to accept and open our hearts to all this transformation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love what you said.
Yeah, so the individual. I mean, all of this process happens within us as well as is in the
It's all going on at the same.
long story and our short stories
Exactly,
kind of follow each other.
yeah. It's really wonderful.
So how do we discern when this mystical experience or this new reality that we're talking about, when does that sometimes become open to delusion, to wrong theology, to all the isms that are out there? How can we protect people from that if we allow ourselves to go into this level of spirit pondering and exposure and creative evolution? And we're going to enter into more and more levels of mystery. I just am thinking of all the prejudices and biases and heresies and all of the stuff that is out there. It's because there's subjectivity in people's minds and they latch on to that. How can we protect ourselves and
Maybe we can.
oh, so we are all subjected to that?
That's a good answer.
Well, or can't we change? I mean, aren't we capable of all those things? I mean, it's all how willing to transform into convergence that we are.
I'd say that again.
It's, we can all acquire skills for negotiating, skills for interacting that are converging rather than alienating.
Okay, have we done that in the past?
Well, I think there are always some who do. I think the other thing, if you think about faith development, which we've also talked about, you have your own life cycle to live. And a lot of people do grow into being love builders, people that can negotiate. And somebody like Rita Steinhagen grew into being kind of luminous for the rest of us. She would take steps we wouldn't just take, and then we could get behind her. So I think a capacity for faith and for self-giving rather than self-taking can develop. And it does develop, I think, in lots of people. In lots of people, it doesn't.
Well, what about the Catholic Church? I mean, it's
Peg has a question up.
kind of
unfortunately.
sponsored racism and Hitlerism and,
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't like to say that.
and Hildegard of Bingen and
Hildegard's great.
Oh, Peg online.
hey,
I was just going to say in our discussion of faith, I was sharing something that I've been reading in another book of Hot that was reflected in this chapter that he talks about in relationship to church and faith. He talks about three kinds of theologies. Theology that is based on the past, he calls it archaeonomy, which is long term, but it's based on the best was in the past. We see that in the theological strain that says everything was perfect in the beginning, and then people sinned, and it's just gone to hell in a handbasket since then. And Jesus had to come and try to fix it by dying on the cross. And it's really kind of everything good is in the past. And sometimes scientific materialism does that same idea. It says, I'll go back to the past and we figure out all the quirks and quarks and all that, and then we'll know exactly how the universe worked. Another kind of theology was one he called analogy, where it's like Joan was talking about the Platonic thought that the perfect is out there somewhere in a spiritual realm, and the earth is just a mere reflection of that perfect realm and will never be perfect. So our focus on God is always someone who's outside of the universe, as it was in the beginning. God was always outside the universe, acting on it. But he recommends a theology, he calls it anticipation, where we are knowing that God is within the universe, working within it, and he's also, God, not he, God is also subject to the changes that are happening. And that's that kenosis, that self-emptying of God, that God is willing to be, and not yet God, to be changing. And so he also points out that our Abrahamic faith, our faith of the prophets, has always been one of
anticipation that God is doing something, that we're moving towards something good. And we always have to have an attitude of patience and faith to be willing to watch that something unfold, knowing that it'll happen way beyond our lifetimes. Thanks.
Well done. Well done. It is, it's the whole next, second part of the tonight. Very well done. Did you get it? Past or present? You know, it used to in biblical studies, you had to identify what it had meant in the past before you could preach it in the present. So you had to, that kind of is over now, but that was a principle. All right. Anything else? Are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay, so. Yeah, a story that's going on. Many of the Psalms do that. The cosmos is new each day. It will still be only at the dawn of creation. Science has given us a totally new picture of the universe, and one that has outgrown the images and concepts of God that most of us picked up in our youth. Or even that are in the scriptures. I mean, Galileo is in the 1600s, you know, that the earth was the center of the universe. So you wouldn't want to not take that in. Let's go ahead. This is where we left off. So what is needed now, especially in view of the developments of science, is not know God, as Judas' brother and others propose, but a new God, a revolution in our understanding of ultimate reality in the age of science. So that's what it's really about. So I propose that we talk a little bit at the tables now around this question, and then we'll go on into the second part.
How long, Joan?
How long do you think? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And think about your experience. What don't you believe? Maybe it's troubled you that you don't believe it anymore. Or you don't have enough new stuff. I hear so often, if God's all-knowing, why doesn't God fix Gaza, fix all these places, especially if God is all-powerful? Okay. One of the chief reasons for not believing. But, okay.
Well, we're the ones.
So, yeah, we'll go till 3 minutes to 7.
I've never seen them. I don't know. I guess it made it bigger, powerful.
All right, folks. So
That's exactly how I use that.
what have you left behind? Has have your ideas of God changed?
Watching.
Images of God, experiences of God changed
Peg has her name.
when you were a kid?
Go ahead, Peg.
My image of God is that I no longer believe in a perfect world from which humanity fell, and then it's just been downhill from there. I no longer believe that Jesus had to come and be crucified and die for our sins. It was a process of being faithful to the life that he was living and the mission he was doing. So yeah, it's much more free. And I said it to my group that one of the things that has drawn me to and kept me to in this community is the ability and to explore different ways of thinking about and experiencing God.
Yeah. Together. These two.
You know, we teach so much when, at least in Catholic schools and stuff, we do all this religious education. Well, people still think concretely. You have no ability to think abstractly until 16, 17, sophomore year going on. So there's no capacity to take all this stuff in other than kind of concretely.
I had the Baltimore Catechism. I mean, you used to memorize that.
Yes, Yeah.
Very concrete for children.
yeah. Well, and actually, that's what Pope John did himself, go back like that, so that the protocol for approving catechetical work and books and stuff was the summary sections of his catechism,
Yeah.
John Paul's catechism, yeah,
Yeah.
disgusting, but
And he's a saint.
Yes.
Aren't
So-
we all?
yeah. Yeah, so just at the time, my life was wonderful because we didn't have so much content like that. So I didn't get much to college. Then I had a lot of questions, but what did we get but Thomistic theology?
Yeah.
So, all right, so moving along. I think it is so good to keep talking about this, because who's the buyer, priest, his last name is Byers, it was over at the Basilica, did this study of people's religious experience, and he interviewed 36 people. 35 of them who never talked to anyone about their religious experience.
Wow.
And I think it's a good thing. We aren't talking answers, we're talking our experience of the holy, of the mystery, of awe, of what moves your heart, fills your mind, gives you power. But so now we're going into the future. What does it mean for Christian faith to live in an unfinished universe? So Peg has kind of anticipated this part. And I'm not sure that anybody, that you got the pages this was in, so
All of them.
let's, so, you know, Peg doesn't believe in a perfect world that then was lost over the big bite of fruit. Neither do I. And evolution kind of rules the possibility that paradise, I mean, we know our ancient history. We know how we evolved to this moment. So for Teilhard, autumn rather than spring was the happiest time of year. I think there's true, maybe he was a Scorpio. I've always felt that too, once the leaves are gone, that it opens the skeletons of the tree, the bones of the tree, that you can see them everywhere. It is a kind of transcendent time that the trees will bring it back, but it's also just this miracle of life and death. Or as this author talks about it, the up ahead, the not yet. Liberating himself from the siren charms of spring and summer. But I was also thinking about our journey. We did Mount Oberg last week, if you can believe it, 84, we did this. Oh, Mount Oberg up on the Superior Lake, the mountain. But you can't see the trail ahead. Over and over, you can't see the trail ahead. Over and over, it curves. And what do you see when you go around that curve?
More trail.
Another curve. Maybe it's worse than the one you just got through. Now it's rocks, or maybe it's roots, or maybe it's God knows what, or maybe it's super steep, or maybe it's even worse, it's super downhill. But you just keep going. So anyway, this is our path. This is a nice part of the path. But I was so taken by this because it was such a workout. It's 2.3 miles or something. But you constantly only see a little. It brought that to my mind so much. That just see this sliver and you keep going. And you think you remember where it gets easier and you can't. And you're wrong over and over. Anyway, the up ahead, I don't know if seeing God in the future will be a help or not. I mean, it's the not yet. So going ahead. Well, he had quite an contrast between Hopkins' poem, which is very taken with springtime, and would be before Einstein's general theory of relativity. And who was the other person he was comparing to? Oh, and Teilhard, yeah, right. So Teilhard makes a considerable difference in Christian piety and theology, that creation was not complete in the beginning and the world is still upborning. Isn't that a nice word?
I love that word.
Yeah.
Upborning.
Okay. But our lives are tied to a universe that still has a future. And there's plenty of room to become much more than it's been or is now. Cosmos, as portrayed by contemporary science, is a work in progress. And at least generally, this is again what Peg was talking about, the general drift has been from simplicity toward complexity over time with trying, this and that. Corresponding to this loose directionality, the cosmos has trended from less consciousness to more, from less being to full being. So from grass to humans. So we have that history that we're a part of. Okay. So Christians who profess to love God, to have been saved by Christ, will lose nothing and gain everything by transplanting this sacramental spirituality to an incalculably larger cosmic setting made available by science. our sense of the Creator, the work of the Holy Spirit, and the redemptive significance of Christ can now go wider, deeper, by immense orders of magnitude, bigger and bigger. So it got kind of poetic there about science clipping the wings of hope and sapping the zest for living. Because Christian faith is intellectually implausible. But those who dwell within a worldview rooted in the Abrahamic motifs of promise and hope, with rightly suspects that Platonic, Aristotelian, Thomistic, and other ancient, medieval, and modern philosophers have blunted the futuristic edge of Israel's God we are looking for. The futurist edge of Israel's God we are looking for is one who is not yet. As long as we think about the universe only in pre-scientific and purely static and purely spatial terms, divine transcendence means not here. Divine transcendence may mean yet to come. So it's a different way of thinking. We don't think this way so much. We feel very bound by our history. We feel very overwhelmed by the negative things that are happening. We don't look at this, the change to the future, and rather than suffering the sin of the past, being hampered from being all we now are. And you know, don't you feel that in your spirit? I was thinking your fingers learn to play the piano. It's in, they know, the body knows how to finger in the end. I just think that's a miracle. I mean, it's your consciousness isn't just floating around up there, but it's actually anchored in you. Animals. And animals too. Yeah. So now 3 kinds to look at time. He is critiquing a metaphysics of the past and of the eternal present, and promoting a metaphysics of the future. So he does not think that the everything seed, the singularity that starts the Big Bang, going back to totally understand this process the way we now do, is going to give us the ultimate answer to who God is. Go back before we had any minds, before the earliest stages of the cosmic process, looking for some magic in it that started it all. But we kind of have that whole picture now. And it does increase. It's pretty amazing to think, Beth Johnson often calls to mind, that if we were going to go back and do it all over again, probably there would be a different history of development. Because it is so much trying to do more and becoming more. So the metaphysics of the eternal present. Metaphysics is about being. I don't know about that top statement, that there's something you experience as right. Maybe you do. I don't know. I never. That there's something right to how things are happening. there's something immaterial lurking within us, above, beyond, behind the transient sphere of terrestrial and cosmic becoming. That a sense of that is kind of the secret to understanding the mystery. But this is what is kind of also bothering us now. It conceives of nature as a static hierarchy of levels of being, each graded ontologically in its being, according to the degree of its sacramental participation in the eternal perfection of God. I mean, this is talking, that is the Platonic idea that there's everything's perfect someplace. At the lowest level of the sacred heart hierarchy lies the obtuse realm of matter. Then in ascending order comes the higher levels of plants, animals, human beings, angels, and finally God. This great chain of being has been the lattice work around which the vine of Catholic spirituality has wound itself for centuries.
Really good.
Well, isn't that well said? Yeah, we've been shaking that off. So the metaphysics of the future. So dissatisfaction with the fixest, static, I think we'd say, immobilistic theology of the scholastics. They were all substance and accidents. Being, existence. I learned how to spell existence in that class. That was about it. Frustration and failure of scientific naturalism to account for evolution's becoming more. Teilhard calls for a new God. God, he proposes, may now be thought of as the ultimate center of convergence for an unfinished universe, rather than as an overseer of a creation that had once been perfect and is now spoiled by sin and ravaged by time, and he will judge. So, our author thinks it's a great gift to Christian faith that science has now provided irrefutable evidence that our universe is historical, that it is still becoming, and that is open to realize new kinds and degrees of coherence, of holding together in the future. You know, Teilhard got his idea of the noosphere during World War I when he was an ambulance driver. That sense that although nobody spoke about it, they were on a common mission and everybody knew it and embraced it. It was a kind of rare experience. And I remember the first time I drove to California, I had this talk with my dad about the price of gas and how far would we get, and all was 29 cents, I think. And he started to talk about people will rise to an occasion that he had experienced that same thing during World War II. He was a farmer, he wasn't a soldier. But that everybody was in this together. And we all kind of knew why. A common purpose. So I think it's coming out of that profound experience. And if you were at these marches yesterday or Saturday, I mean, didn't you feel the crowd, the fact that so many people care about the things you care about? I mean, it's very enlivening, affecting you.
Was very patriotic. I thought that was so interesting that it was about country. It wasn't about my Medicare or anything, really, people were more concerned.
Well-
Something. Saving our country.
more concerned about our country and about my Medicare or anything, that it was genuinely patriotic. All right. I think we talked about that. So it's a final question. What questions would you carry into the spring course?
Supreme Court.
The spring course,
Oh,
the spring hedgerow course. I think we should have a little table talk about that. We have about 10 minutes, and then we'd have 5 minutes left at the end to share. So what questions, given this introduction into talking, we'll bring in some other things too.
So small group, Joan?
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, under,
you can talk at the tables and then let's,
my underlying question is, why did God create an evolving universe? So I
Okay, go.
And it's.
What do you do with your liturgy? What do you do with your prayer? How do you encourage people to start to pray? What foundation do you give people?
Very good. Very good.
Similarly, I was thinking in the, of my godkids, like, where do you start with language and stuff? So I flippantly throw out a cosmic catechism. Some way that the question, the answer, the pattern that some of us used to learn, but we need these words. And not a sheep of them, but we need not a sound bite either, but a succinct way to start to tell maybe our siblings at Thanksgiving, or maybe our godchildren would like to help raise up.
And we have some folks online too, so can we go there before we continue in the room?
Barbara's got her hand up going.
Oh, well,
Okay, actually, I would like Jennifer to articulate your comments.
Oh, thanks, Barb. Well, we had a great conversation. Some ideas were fleshing out the idea of the not yet God, and to inflesh what is this God as the center of convergence for an unfinished universe.
Yeah.
How do we flesh that out together, imagine and put words and creativity around that? What does that look like? God as the center of convergence.
Thank you. Anyone?
Annie has got her hand up, and then let's go to the table.
Okay, we had Rosemary Christie and I had a great conversation. We spoke about moving forward. You know, instead of looking backward, what's there that we're moving forward? What can we learn? Also the question, Teilhard's eternal feminine, how is she vital to the forward movement of life? And then I would like to look at Thomas Berry, who many of you know and we've studied in Hedgerow before, who actually took a lot of Teilhard stuff and put it in today's world, and Joanna Macy, and how can we become activists? It's great to talk about the theology and the universe, but we know the earth is sacred. But if we're not going to do anything about it, and with Trump is just blowing up, the EPA and everything, we need to understand, again, that it's not us and nature, it's not us and earth. We are all of that. And so what can we do to, still be here for our kids and grandkids? So.
Amen.
Mhm.
And those are a lot of the same things about language and liturgy. But we also are looking at the education piece of it. Like, that's a new thing to me to hear. And I knew that about little kids, the concrete thinking, but what can you say if you're talking about kids and grandkids? You're talking about those younger people that we're in contact with, if we're not just dealing with adults, like, are there any practical things we want to face about how do you do something like that, where you're allowing the experience at the level that they are without giving something that needs to be undone? Like, if you're telling the story, then can it be a story, not the word of God? Or something.
Tell it. They're 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we're asked to enter into, first of all, I think we're asked to enter into a period of kenosis, of letting go and emptying, But in regard to the children and how do we go about doing this, I think we go deeply in prayer, committed and dedicated to contemplative prayer and move out in love. And that's how the children learn, is by how they're loved, how they're encouraged, how they're built up, how they're not the whole thing, you can be anything you want. I don't mean that, but just the encouragement of them and the building their little selves up. It's so dear, but we're called to love.
Yeah. One more table.
Oh,
Yeah, this table. Well, did you have a question?
okay, we had a statement, the two of us, about what we would suggest for the spring workshop or hedgerow. And that is to explain more clearly what stage we are in our country and our world right now. Are we in the state of divergence or convergence? I believe it's said in here somewhere that we're in the state of convergence, but we're so divergent. We haven't ever been this, had such animosity and difference and diversity and political and social movements. And so that would help us to understand.
Thank you. Are we done? It's 7:30.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll just give this to you.
Thank you for helping with making.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to give this to you. We need to be done. There's an article about Teilhard in the Christian Century.
Okay.
And there's a PBS document.
I just wanted to tell you that next week, Anna Tia will be here. Do you know Anna? She's at St. Kate's now. She was at Ascension for a long time. She was with the diocese. She's Hispanic and Spanish speaking, so she's going to do Guadalupe with us. Okay, thank you.
What do we have? A
Thank you.
chapter?
Bye-bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
I think the chapter is just Guadalupe, isn't
Thanks,
it?
Joan.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Is there a reading with it? I don't remember that there's a reading with Guadalupe.
And they own a Gabara handout.
Okay. There is going to be a theological handout that's from Ibon Gabara.
Chapter 4.
Great.
Yeah. But you can tell it's the one about Guadalupe. It's the one about Guadalupe in the book.